All right. Hi, guys. My name is Daniel Inman. I'm a fourth-year PhD candidate here at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. I am originally from Jonesboro, Georgia, located in Clayton County, right outside of Atlanta, where I went to Jonesboro High School, graduated class of 2016. From Jonesboro High School, I transitioned to Savannah State University, where I graduated class of 2020. And there I majored in chemistry. Outside of academics, I served as a resident assistant for university housing and res life, as well as participated actively in the community as a Greek life participant, as a mentor on and off campus. And I did some tutoring while I was there, actually. After graduating 2020 spring, I then transitioned directly into my PhD program here at UAB, where I have been since. Joined the Polymer Research Lab under the instruction of Dr. Colin Pieva, and I've been committed to the journey that we call PhD and dedicated to my research here, with an expected graduation date of 2025. What prepared me to be a competitive applicant for the PhD program that I'm in? I would say what, for starters, I would say what prepared me the most would be essentially my work ethic, knowing that I am dedicated, I am committed to the task at hand, and I'm able to complete those tasks. I believe that, being a relatable person, being personable makes a huge deal in, your overall competitiveness. Factors that kind of helped me become competitive, that kind of goes back to Savannah State University, where I participated in this research under the DoD program, Department of Defense, in 2018. My research experiences at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, where I did an REU in 2019. There I placed first in a couple of their research competitions. Being at Savannah State, participating in the Mark U Star Scholar Program, participating in the Peach State Lewis Stokes Alliance, or PSLMs as we call it there. All of these experiences kind of helped me to become competitive because they served as the foundation to my CV and resume, essentially. As far as the important people in my life who kind of helped me become competitive, I would like to dedicate that to, in addition to my research mentors such as Dr. Jenkins, Dr. Benda, my advisor, Dr. Samuel Terry or Mr. Terry, they all pushed me and they seen in me what at the time I did not see in myself. So I would definitely say having that strong background and people who are pushing you to be successful because they see in you what you do not see in yourself was definitely big on how I became competitive, because they have helped me to one, focus, but also how to take on certain tasks, work with different backgrounds, and just played a huge role in my overall matriculation to get where I am now. Another part about being competitive in the program, I would say, is that it's not about who has the most outstanding resume or who has the most outstanding CV, but it's also about who is honestly the most personable, who's, I'm not even going to say the most dedicated, but you show that you're dedicated. You show that every day through thick and thin, hard, not hard times, that you can actually make it through. So I would say with that, just everything that Savannah State provided me and those individuals alongside those experiences, because nothing was easy, I would say that's of what helped prepare me to be competitive here in my PhD program at UAB. For question number 3, how did I navigate my transition from an HBCU to a R1 research institution? I also think this is a very good question because, to be honest, I could say even to this day, I'm still learning how to navigate through my program here at UAB. The culture associated with the HBCU background versus the PWI background or your R1 Institute background, they're completely different. And so coming in, everything feels overwhelming. But I would say the best way to do it, and this is what I actually do, just take it one day at a time. I think if you can take things one day at a time and just know that today I did everything I could to help make for a better tomorrow. But once you get to tomorrow, also look at, hey, everything that happened yesterday is yesterday and that we can only move forward from here. I think that's one of the best ways to navigate the program and navigate that transition because, again, as I mentioned, the transition is overwhelming. The research here at R1 Institutes is very involved. It's very tough, demanding. So with that being said, you really have to find your footing early and find a good mentor early who can help you transition and help you get over those hurdles that or those habits that you may have acquired coming from an institution which is not so popular with research, such as Savannah State. Savannah State was a great institution. I did have the opportunity to do research there. However, we did not have a plethora of opportunities, which is why I took on opportunities at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, or, why I had to partner with these different programs such as the DoD in order to fulfill the spaces on my resume to, essentially make me the candidate that I am today, but also a competitive applicant and much more. So I would definitely say that, every day, just taking it one day at a time is the best place to start. And once you kind of find your footing, just continue to do that. Be as consistent with that as possible. That way, you know that what you're doing is only making steps in the right direction. Question number 4. What were some strategies that helped prepare you for interviews? Taking on the interview process is solely about being you, because when you submit your application and supplementary documents, they only get so much of you, or they only get the parts of you that you want them to know on paper. And a lot of things go into an application process or into an interview process, like, yes, so-and-so looks good on paper, but what are they like in person? Honestly, I would say the best thing that helped me, or the number one thing that anyone can do, which is what I did, is just be yourself. Go in there and bring your personality. Go in there, don't try to fit the narrative that you think they want you to fit, but fit the narrative that you truly fit. And so with that being said, if you go in there, you're personable, you're bubbly, that's you, do that, and be that, because you want to be as organic as possible. And honestly, I believe that's what a lot of interviewers are looking for, because they want to know that outside of the research, that you are honestly human. And this is, again, my personal perspective, but I believe they want to know you're human. They want to know that, hey, you're not perfect, but you are you. And so that's one of the things that can help. But additionally, I believe bringing supplementary information to your interview process is very important. I know I took a couple interviews. They were on Zoom at the time, and they're asking questions about the research, or about pretty much the content of the documents that you uploaded, whether it's a CV, a resume, a personal statement, whatever. And so having some of those supplementary documents, which can be a poster that you generated in PowerPoint, or the link to one of your publications, or, anything that pretty much sets the next step for the application process, or the interview process, and allows you to drive the conversation, I think that would be great. So definitely bringing that supplementary information, and, being familiar with the content that you put in your information or into your documents. I definitely think those are a few great tips, because you'll be surprised how many people have these things on their CV or on their resume, and they're like, oh yeah, I did that, but that was, or it was around this. No, like, just review your documents, and essentially just study yourself, study what you did, study what you provided them. That way you can further answer the questions. I think that's probably the best way to prepare for the interview. Essentially, the outcome will be the outcome. I think in doing those things, it helped me to become, or get to where I am now, and be successful in my process to get into the PhD program. Question number 5, how did you get ready for your qualifying exams? Okay, so I'll start by saying each school has a different process for qualifying to become a PhD candidate. I know here at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, you give a seminar on a random topic selected by yourself and your committee to the pretty much to the department. It has to be an hour long. So that's the first process. You'll do that in the spring of your second year. Then the following summer, you'll take your first set of qualifying exams, which solidifies you as a master's degree student. Here, we do not receive our master's degree, so this is a full PhD program. So it's not like you'll get that degree in the mail once you pass the qualifying exams. Going into your third year, 1 year later, you will give what is actually called an original research proposal, which is the candidacy qualifier. And in doing this, within these 3 milestones that essentially prepares you for candidacy, the way I prepared was share your information with like your group members, pass it along to any of the resources that you have who can challenge you on your topic and just prepare you for, the discussions if you're giving the presentations, or who can study with you and test you on your knowledge of the material for the courses that you're taking the test on. I know for that summer section, as I mentioned, you take a qualifying exam based on courses that you have already taken, about 3 to 4 of them. And of course, it's cumulative. So just taking time, make sure you're allotting time to study yourself, really take time to channel that information, lock that information in, and essentially have it memorized to where you can regurgitate to the piece of paper. So for me personally, I took about maybe a week per course. I took my qualifying exam, which would fall in that summer session, and I reviewed each section of my qualifier for 1 week at a time. And then my 4th week, I took my exam. I was successful in passing. My professors were very proud of me. They knew I could do it. They had no questions. They just told me like, "Hey, you did really well on my section." So that made for a great passing of the qualifying exam for my summer session. For my actual PhD candidacy, I think the best thing I did to kind of get ready for that, to actually qualify as a candidate here at UAB, was to share it with my colleagues in the department. I built my presentation around my research topic, and then I would go and get as many people as I could from the department who were left that day, and I would say, "Hey, do you guys mind sitting in on my presentation?" And so what they would do is they would sit in, they'll ask questions, we'll go slide by slide. I would give this hour-and-a-half talk or however long it was, and they would honestly challenge me with questions from anywhere they could think of, because when you're getting these colleagues, some may be from biochemistry, some may be from inorganic, organic, we have radiochemistry here. So just as many people as you can get, have them ask you questions about your work, challenge the knowledge. And honestly, they'll provide the insight that you need to get you through your presentation or quote unquote exam. And so I think when doing this, it was probably the best task or practice that I could have done, because again, they provided the different perspectives. Everyone thinks differently about the research, about the science. And so it definitely opened doors or opened my mind to thinking differently about how my research is being conducted, or what reagents I could use, or how does this characterization process works, just whatever challenged me to be the best scientist that I could be. Question number 6, how do you stay motivated throughout your PhD, and where do you see yourself after completing your PhD program? Self-motivation is number 1. I definitely think that, because in your PhD, you're going to have a lot of times where it's just you. As my boss says, no one else can get this degree for you. You're getting it for yourself, which means that around those late nights, it's all on you. So you definitely have to want this, and you definitely have to stay motivated and have that self-motivation first and foremost. Of course, a good support system is always great. I know for me, my friends, they'll stay up late on the phone with me if I'm working on some presentations. I know, my parents, my siblings, anyone who can, be there for you and give you that information. it's it's great. I'll say those are the main things for staying motivated in the program. And where do I see myself afterwards? I want to go into industry. Me personally, I think that's where I would make the biggest impact. I just want to make an impact with the sciences to where the world knows that it's people who come from these underrepresented backgrounds and come from areas similar to you or to the next person, but you can make an impact just as great as anyone else. Thank you.